let's give the Los Angeles Clippers a round of applause. Why? Because they said, we'll let Paul George walk because he won't take the Kawhi Leonard money. And the thing is they were fine with it because they redistributed the wealth. And I think this team, which was already a somewhat, I mean, the team this past season wasn't as deep as it had been in the years prior. But I would like to say that they're deep. This Clippers squad knew that they had some shortcomings, and I think they did a very good job of addressing those said concerns through free agency. And in my opinion, if you're a fan of the Los Angeles Clippers, you have to be excited of what they've done, especially knowing that Ty Lue's locked up. You're looking to trade Russell Westbrook and PJ Tucker, which, if you guys did not know, those two guys combined is about $15 million in salary, which means you maybe could potentially go out and get yourself a decent addition with that type of, combination of salaries. Now, they brought in Kris Dunn. They've also brought back Nick Batum. They've brought in Bamba, Kevin Porter Jr. I know some people have said that maybe Kevin Porter Jr. could be foreshadowing of them wanting to trade Norman Powell, just because they're both going to be they both play the same role, which is a sixth man. Norman Powell's bigger, though, and could play a little bit of wing. They also brought in Derrick Jones Jr. So, hypothetically, starting lineup: James Harden, Terrence Mann, Kawhi Leonard, Derrick Jones Jr., and Zubats. Backed up by Mo Bamba, Nick Batum, Norman Powell. You'd assume Kris Dunn, and then either Amir Coffey or Bones Highland or Kevin Porter Jr. They also drafted Cam Christie, which I thought was a fantastic pickup. He might not play in the first year or so, but he's that perfect 6'5", the prototypical modern archetype for the physical profile and play style of a 3-and-D wing that is coveted in today's NBA. So I think that was a great job, and I think they did a really, really solid. I think the thing that they did was they were aware that, hey, we need to be smart with our cap sheets, especially with the apron. And I don't know. For me, I feel like whenever you look at a team like the Clippers the last few years where they were pushing the cap, I think they chose, or realizing that maybe this superstar, we gave it 4 or 5 seasons of this superstar pairing. It didn't work. We didn't even really, did we ever come close? Did we? That COVID year? But besides that, well, I think they've pivoted and they've said, we're seeing that the best teams in the NBA have one really good player and then a lot of good, solid players surrounding that guy. So for me, I think that's the blueprint that we're seeing with the Clippers. I just want to say that the Clippers themselves just continue to make move after move that seem to me just to be smart, methodical, well-calculated moves. They now have bigs. They have Mo Bamba and Zubats as like your prototypical big. Zubats is your typical, inside the paint, rebounding, white guy, double machine. Mo Bamba is like a 3-and-D guy. And then you have Kobe Brown. I know PJ Tucker's on the roster. The expectation is that they're going to trade him, but you guys knew what I meant, though, either way with that. So just looking at how all of this could realistically just put together a really good roster with different options for Ty Lue. And I think that's the thing that we've realized is that Ty Lue is at his best as a coach when he has a plethora of options. And I think that's what we're seeing at the point guard position. The expectation obviously is that they're going to get rid of Mr. Russell Westbrook. And just from a guard position, James Harden, Kris Dunn, Bones Highland, that's already 3 guys. Terrence Mann plays like every position. Kevin Porter, Norman Powell, and Amir Coffey are all guys who can play the 1 or the 2 if they needed to. Then guys who can play the 2 and the 3 are James Harden, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell. I would say that's about it. And then they have there are guys who are like combo wings or combo forwards who can play the 3-4. Kawhi, Batum, Derrick Jones. I guess Jordan Miller we'd throw in there. Terrence Mann. And then you still have Kawhi Leonard, Derrick Jones, Kobe Brown as your like typical, and Batum as your like typical forwards, power forwards, small forwards. And like I said, Mo Bamba and Zubats. Right now you have PJ Tucker as the small ball 5, but like the expectation is they're going to move off of him. So you have Kobe Brown. I just really like this team's roster. And they haven't like handicapped themselves yet. So I don't know, man. When you sit here and you see a team like the Clippers, you just have to think like this is impressive how they've not fallen to the trap. Like, yes, they're at $163 million of salary, I believe, right now. And technically they only have let me count out all the players that they currently have. I believe if we look at the way the roster is set up, I want to count like how many guys are on the roster, because I could be wrong, but I believe they're over 10 players. But I want to take out the 2, so their starting lineup, they have 5, and then they have 10, and then they have 15, technically 17 players. One's on a 2-way, and Cam Christie, we don't know what his contract's going to be specifically. So really, they have 14 roster spots filled if we take out Russell Westbrook and PJ Tucker. And just by the way, if they can either just create cap space if they wanted to, or who can they get for $10 to $15 million? Chris Boucher is someone that they could maybe look at, but I know if we're looking at the Denver Nuggets, let's say it's the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are like, hey, we'll take Russell Westbrook and PJ Tucker off your hands. Those are 2 players that we think will help us win a championship again. So who's someone, maybe a combination of Zeke Nnaji and Reggie Jackson? But I feel like, is that enough? That's like not a bad deal. You get another point guard, but I feel like the Zeke Nnaji's gonna have to be in the deal. I feel like Zeke Nnaji's in the deal, but after that, Reggie Jackson, does that really close out the deal for you? I mean, yeah, would you guys do Zeke Nnaji and Reggie Jackson for PJ Tucker and Russell Westbrook?